Welcome back to the channel, where we talk about really scary stories that happened in real life. Today, I'll be covering the story of the Milwaukee entity. Get comfortable, grab a Snickers bar and a Diet Pepsi, and prepare to get scared. In June of 2018, in a quiet suburb of Bayview, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a woman named Jane Larson experienced something so bizarre and unsettling it left the entire neighborhood in shock. Jane, a 34-year-old teacher, lived alone in a charming single-story house with a small front porch where she enjoyed her morning coffee. One summer evening, Jane was driving home from a late-night shift at her second job when she decided to stop at a gas station. It was a quick trip. It was around 10 p.m. and the station was eerily quiet at the time. As she filled her tank, Jane noticed an unsettling sight. A tall, gaunt figure standing in the shadows near the edge of the lot, watching her intently. She couldn't make out its face, but the figure's presence sent a chill down her spine. Jane quickly finished pumping her gas. She had to pay inside because she lost her debit card, and she drove home, trying to shake off that weird feeling of being watched. As she pulled into her driveway, she glanced in her rearview mirror and saw nothing out of the ordinary. She entered her home, locked the doors, and tried to put the incident out of her mind. Later that night, around 2 a.m., Jane was awoken by a strange sound coming from outside. It sounded almost like a scraping, and there was also heavy footsteps, which sounded like were coming from her porch. Fearfully, she peered out of her bedroom window, but in the darkness, she could only make out vague shapes and silhouettes. She convinced herself it was probably just an animal, and she went back to bed. The next morning, Jane was greeted by an unbelievable sight. Her front porch, a small wooden structure with a couple of steps and a railing, was completely gone. Vanished. There were no tools, debris, or any sign of struggle or deconstruction. It was as if the porch had simply been lifted off and taken away in the middle of the night. Jane immediately called the police, but their investigation turned up nothing. There's no fingerprints, no footprints, no kind of clue or evidence left behind whatsoever. The neighbors hadn't seen or heard anything unusual. Baffled and a bit shaken, Jane reported the incident to her insurance company and began the process of replacing the porch. However, as days turned into weeks, Jane couldn't shake the feeling that she was still being watched. She started noticing odd things, a faint rustling in the bushes, a shadow that seemed to linger for a little bit too long in the corner of her eye, and at times, it even felt like she was being followed when she walked to her car. Then, one night, Jane decided to set up a camera to capture any suspicious activity. What she recorded would haunt her forever. The footage showed a tall, lanky figure, the same one she saw at the gas station a couple weeks or months back, I don't remember, silently creeping around her yard, its movements disturbingly fluid and deliberate. And then, in a moment that defied all logic, the figure the figure appeared to dissolve into the shadows right before her eyes. This footage really creeped Jane out. She ran over to her bedroom to grab her phone, but she tripped on a power cord and destroyed her bathroom mirror. Jane showed the footage to the police. They were just as perplexed as she was. With no concrete evidence of a crime, they could do little more than just patrol the area more frequently. I keep messing. Desperate, Jane turned to the local media, hoping someone might have an explanation or at least recognize the figure. The story quickly gained traction, with people from all over Milwaukee and beyond sharing their theories. Some speculated it was just some prankster, while others suggested it was something more sinister, a supernatural entity drawn to Jane for reasons unknown. Despite the increased attention and sharing the post to Reddit, the figure was never identified, and the mystery of the disappearing porch remains unsolved. Jane eventually moved away, hoping to leave the terrifying experience behind. But those who hear her story can't help but wonder, what was that creature? And why did it steal her porch? To this day, the tale of the Milwaukee entity continues to send shivers down the spines of Wisconsin people. A chilling reminder that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction, because this is a real story that happened in real life. I hope that you're scared and had to use the bathroom while I told this story, because it is real and scary. Make sure to subscribe and comment and give me a like. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at @thecloudyskies. No spaces, no dots, no dashes, just The Cloudy Skies. Thank you very much. Can you hear that car in the background? If you can, comment, I can hear that car in the background. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe.